you some of the lessons I've learned in the last week. Because since I said this 100 days, post a video every day on YouTube, I've been learning something new. It's been interesting, stressing, challenging. And so each Friday, I sit down here and I just tell you how the journey is going since I started posting an unscripted video every single day for the past 40 days. And this is also the first time I'm going to be sharing the journey with you on Instagram because it has been very YouTube focused where I'm not getting dressed, I'm not putting on makeup, and it's been a very interesting journey actually because it's something that I'm not used to. I'm not used to just sitting down in front of the camera and just talking, freestyling. There's no script, there's no direction, and I can't even lie, it has been challenging. But today, for example, I was feeling a bit stressed, like, oh my God, I feel like like I've run out of things to say. Like I was feeling a bit discouraged because the engagement hasn't been amazing. Like some days I get engagement and then I'm like, oh, people are actually watching. And then the engagement disappears and I go back into that place of not knowing if to continue, if to stop it. And then sometimes I'm like so excited that I'm doing this thing. And then some other days it's like, why are you doing it in the first place? So I was feeling all sorts of way today. And then I stumbled on the video by Vanessa Lau. Now, Vanessa is a big time YouTuber. You might even know her. She's very big in YouTube world and even on Instagram. And I think on YouTube she has about 900,000 subscribers. So she is like the GOAT in the category. And anyway, so Vanessa came on today and I was watching her video and it was an unscripted and unedited video. And she calls it a yap. And she said basically she does a yap every week where she just wants her audience to connect with her. And as I was watching this video, I was like, this is actually pretty cool. This is very interesting to watch someone who has all these followers, who is very experienced, doing an unscripted and unedited video. So I sat there and I watched the whole video. And the more she watched, or the more I watched her speak, the more I remembered why every single person should do an unscripted video series. And these are the lessons I've learned really. So the first one I would say is the fact that just because you've decided to do a challenge doesn't mean you're going to be excited about the challenge every single day. Like it doesn't mean that you're going to wake up pumped to commit to the challenge every day. And actually today, I thought several times about not actually doing the video. But then I reminded myself that I'm not doing it for anyone else. I'm not doing it because of the engagement, because of the followers, because of anyone. I'm doing it 100% for myself. And so if I say I'm going to do something and I don't show up, actually what I'm saying to myself is, I don't value you enough to push through. So that is one thing I think I've learned about myself today, that I'm very committed to the show up, even when it's not working. And I think it's also something that a lot of creators might want to learn, that you're not going to always feel like it, but if you said you're going to do it, you might as well do it. And the second thing is, I actually learned about my content creator archetype today. Believe it or not, you have an archetype. You have a way that you create content that is unique to you. And I was watching a lady called Nicole, and she was talking about the reason people are stuck when it comes to creating content is because they're trying to create content like other people, people that may have a different archetype to you or may have a different style to you. So basically, she broke it into 4 categories of content creators. And she said the first group of people are educators. They like to teach 10 tips, 5 tips, 5 ways, things like that. So those are educators. And then she said architects, they have systems for everything. They have frameworks. They're always drawing diagrams and breaking down how to do things in a simpler way. They're very systematic and very strategic. And then she said the third group of people are visionaries. They're not necessarily the kind of people to break down things and teach you. Instead, they're very futuristic. They're very prophetic. They see things that other people don't see, and they're able to connect patterns that other people may not be able to see. And then she said the fourth group of people are storytellers. And these are people who entertain you naturally. They tell you stories. And those stories may not necessarily have a lesson behind it, but they're telling you stories and they're carrying you along as they go, right? And so she was saying, if you are naturally a storyteller, but then you start to try and operate like an educator, where you're trying to teach with a whiteboard and you're trying to break down systems and things like that, like an architect, you will always get burnt out. And then there was a quiz. And so when I said to check that out, I thought to myself, this is actually really powerful because there's several people who are creating content, but when they say get inspiration for content, we go online and we start to look at people and we don't recognize that the people we're admiring might be very different from us. They might have a different personality and archetype when they create content. So anyway, I took the quiz and I also asked ChatGPT to help me by dictating a few captions into ChatGPT. Like I just pulled up my phone and I said to dictate to ChatGPT. And at the end of dictating, I said to ChatGPT, can you evaluate my caption and tell me if I fall into an educator, an architect, a visionary, or a storyteller? And it came back with the fact, drum roll, that I'm not an educator and I am not a storyteller, but I combine visionary and architect to the way I speak, in the way I create content, in the way I view the world, in the way I communicate the things that I'm saying. And just saying that, it sets something free inside of me because I feel like usually I tell stories when I talk, but I don't tell stories for the fun of telling stories or for the fun of entertainment. I tell stories because I think it buttresses the point I am trying to make. And so just seeing it there that I'm a visionary, I feel like it set me free. Like now I don't have to force myself into a bucket. So what am I trying to say? That the first lesson for today or for the week was basically the fact that you're not always going to feel like showing up. But the second bucket is don't try to create content like anyone else, because at the end of the day, you are not everyone else. You are special, unique, made on purpose for a purpose, someone. And so that for me is something that I want to pay more attention to that as I continue to create content. I think the third lesson this week has been the fact that more and more creators are beginning to create unscripted and unedited videos. And that says something. It says that the world is tired of the perfectly polished, perfectly presented, perfectly scripted and edited videos that have been the norm until now. Like for years and years, people have always been, very clean, very arranged, very organized content. But now it feels like content is changing. Like content is beginning to feel different. And so because of that, because it's beginning to feel different, people are beginning to abandon the way they used to create content before, where they are looking to be fully polished and now are adopting unscripted and unedited videos. And Vanessa said something that really resonated with me. And she said something about the fact that when she used to be invited to podcasts, she would ask for the questions in advance. And when she asks for the questions, something happens. She will get the questions to what they're going to ask her on the podcast, and then she will script the answers ready in advance for the podcast. And then something happens, which is when she's now on the podcast and they ask her a question, because she has rehearsed the answer so much, she comes off like someone who is a robot, right? And that is the world we live in. Nobody wants to be talking to a robot anymore. Everybody wants you to sound like a human being. But you can't do that if you are constantly scripted, organized, you memorized your answers, you are trying to be perfect instead of just being human. Okay. So those are the lessons I've been learning. And she said something. She said, the more you learn to use your voice in your business and in your content, the more people actually see you as a person rather than a robot. And I remember there was this thing that happened. This was years ago now. So I'd been creating content on social media for about 2 or 3 years at this point, and I used to go live. But then after a while, I took a break and I stopped going live online. And so one day, a lady sent me a message and she says, "Hey, I've been watching your videos for a while, and I really resonate with your videos. I resonate with your message." And she said something about her seeing a lot of people online posting content, but not seeing them as people. I don't know if that makes sense. So she's following these people, she's seeing their content, but they don't sound human. Okay. So at the end of the day, we're going back to that place where people want to feel like they know you as a person, where they see you as a person. And if you're creating from the place of, oh my God, I need my hair to be perfect. I need to be dressed up. I need my clothes to be some way. I need. People are never going to be able to connect with you as a person. They're always going to see you as something that is aspirational, out of this world. And that's not just the way you want to be seen. So those are the 3 main lessons I've learned this week when it comes to creating content. And I'm continuing the challenge of posting a video, an unscripted video every single day for 100 days. And hopefully next week, I will have a different set of lessons to share with you. But until then, I just hope that this has resonated with you. Okay? All right, let's go.